obviously, and I will be taking the 23 days Hajj group, inshallah. And because I was one of the founders, so alhamdulillah, I've been going to Hajj and Umrah for the last 10 years, alhamdulillah, every year. And every year is different, and every year you learn different things. So inshallah, this year will be my 11th time, and I'm probably one of the sort of organizers and leaders of the group. The second person that I'd like to introduce is Sheikh Maulana Yunus Durwala. Here he is, and he will be obviously doing the main presentation of the seminar. He joins us from UHAM General. He's basically graduate from Mary Darul Uloom many years ago now, and after that he went to Al-Azhar University in Egypt and graduated with BA Honours. He then became Masjid Imam in East Ham for a while before he took on the job at UHAM General. He's actually now the head of the chaplaincy of UHAM General University Hospital. Can you put that down? He's also very experienced in Hajj. He's been running Hajj seminars for approximately 5 years now too. So anything to do with Hajj, if there's one person in the room in terms of the Muslim Messiah, he's one person to talk to, alhamdulillah. And more importantly, he also won in the 2010 NHS Online Employee of the Year. So both, alhamdulillah, Allah has given him both success in Deen and Dunya. The third person I'd like to introduce, and there's no doubt every person in this room has probably spoken to him, is Ibrahim, Brother Ibrahim Mal. He's also been one of the founders of the organization, and like myself, he's performed many Hajj. And I don't think there's anybody in the room that doesn't know him, but he too is also incredibly experienced. The third person is a person who's taking the names at the back, and that's Brother Badri Alam. And he too will be also traveling with us. He will be taking the 19 days Hajj group from up north. Brother Ibrahim is also taking the 19 days Hajj group. So again, Hafiz Badri Alam, he's going to be performing his second Hajj, second Hajj with us, but also very experienced, and he works with us in the office. The third person I'd like to introduce is Brother Minhaj. He's been working with us for approximately 5 years. He's a full-time employee of the London Underground. He's one of the supervisors. So again, mashallah, he spends a lot of time in, has been successing dunya, as well as Allah has given him so much in Deen too. Every year without fail, he's there as a volunteer, comes along to perform his Hajj. Together with Brother Minhaj, we have Brother Imran over here, standing in the middle. He's also one of the software engineers for the London Underground. He too has been coming with us for the last 4 years, every year now, and he is one of the soldiers. Take a very good look at him, because he's also won many awards, and one particular award, which he really gets embarrassed, but I'm still going to do it, because it's something that I don't think I could be able to do, because of the London fire in the King's Cross, if you can remember. He was one of the only people that went inside, into the underground, went into the train and pulled the dead bodies out and pulled limbs out, and went in and out while everybody stood and watched. So in fact he got awarded by the Queen, so he's one of our soldiers. Look at him, Imran. Again, we have Maulana Yunus Ibrahim Abdul Hakim. He's on the 14-day package. He'll be taking it with Maulana Yunus Budwala. So both of Abdul Hakim, he has spent tireless time and energy towards getting the program organized. He's always on our backs, making sure we do everything professionally and properly. And he too, inshallah, will be joining us. He's one of the management consultants. Yeah, and he too will be, inshallah, for those who are the soldiers amongst us and want to perform the walking Hajj. Abdul Hakim, inshallah, will be leading that. Okay, so without further ado, what I will do, inshallah, is introduce Hafiz Tahir, a local Hafiz who's becoming an alim too, who will do the recitation of the Quran. And then as soon as we finish doing that, then Maulana Yunus will take over and start the Hajj ceremony, inshallah. Just house rules. The men's toilets are at the rear, and then we've got the ladies' toilets round the back over there through the double doors. Yeah. After the recitation of the Quran, the tea and coffee will be ready, so you can just pick it up and then sit down, and then we'll just carry on. We're trying to make it as informal as possible. If you've got any burning questions, then just put your hand up or ask any of the court marshals. Shall we call a marshal to make it like professional? So ask any of these guys, and then inshallah we'll be able to answer. Have this time.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحج أشهر معلومات فمن فرض فيهن الحج فلا رفث ولا فسوق ولا جدال في الحج وما تفعلوا من خير يعلمه الله وتزودوا فإن خير الزاد التقوى واتقون يا أولي الألباب ليس عليكم جناح أن تبتغوا فضلا من ربكم فإذا أفضتم من عرفات فاذكروا الله عند المشعر الحرام واذكروه كما هداكم وإن كنتم من قبله لمن الضالين ثم أفيضوا من حيث أفاض الناس واستغفروا الله إن الله غفور رحيم فإذا قضيتم مناسككم فاذكروا الله كذكركم آباءكم أو أشد ذكرا فمن الناس من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا وما له في الآخرة من خلاق ومنهم من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار أولئك لهم نصيب مما كسبوا والله سريع الحساب واذكروا الله في أيام معدودات فمن تعجل في يومين فلا إثم عليه ومن تأخر فلا إثم عليه لمن اتقى واتقوا الله واعلموا أنكم إليه تحشرون صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah khair to Hafiz Tahir sir. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Maulana Yunus. I'm going to be your Imam for majority of the journey, especially those of the 14 days package and the 19 days package who are leaving from London. I will be at the airport from the 6th of October all the way till we come back after the 14-day package. The 19 days will stay on to go to the better hotels that I'm coming home. In terms of the presentation today, we still have some people who are arriving. So what I've done is I'm going to start with Medina Munawwara. Also, because majority of us, if not all of us, will be going to Medina Munawwara first. So I'm going to do that quickly as well. And then when everyone else arrives, hopefully then I will try and give you a mindset of what the Hajj is all about and then explain the Hajj, inshallah. So, not going to, and this presentation is very truncated. There's another presentation which I did on Monday at Canary Wharf, which was about 3.5 hours in length. That will be on YouTube as well, and we'll try and get that link as soon as it's been put up. So that was a bit more detailed. We are time limited as much as, so I'm going to try and fill in as much as possible. I will be with you on the journey. I will try and explain. I'll be giving some talks in Medina Munawwara. I'll be giving some talks in Shisha before we go for Hajj as well. So it's a reminder as well. So try and take notes. That's number one. Number two, we will try and pass on the presentation to you. If you get the presentation, then try and go through that presentation before you leave for the Hajj. So every day you should be reading 15 minutes, 20 minutes every single day of your presentation, trying to remind yourself. And that will keep you fresh. If there's any questions, write them down. If you can ask them before you go, it's better. If not, then at least write them down, and when that time comes, then we will at least answer those questions. So visiting Medina Munawwara, one will visit Medina Munawwara due to the love that we have for our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is not part of the Hajj. If somebody doesn't visit Medina Munawwara, it doesn't mean that Hajj is not accepted. But because we are going to Makkah Mukarramah and Medina Munawwara is not too far away in comparison, therefore we visit the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is our deep love that we should have, and we do have, for our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is no ihram, there is no talbiyah for the visit to Medina and the Prophet's mosques, and to visit Medina is not a part of Hajj or Umrah. In terms of the snapshot of Medina Munawwara, you can see here, over there on the left is Jannatul Baqi. Our hotel is here on the left-hand corner. On the left-hand corner where it says Al-Baqi. So our hotel in Medina Munawwara will be on the left-hand side. A bit on the left-hand side. So when we're coming, you will be coming towards this corner where it says ladies area. So I think Shabir and Ko have looked after the ladies better than they've looked after the men. But I'll sort them out later. Yeah? So the ladies area comes here. The men will have to enter through the middle over there. At the middle. And there's another ladies section on the right hand side. But when ladies are going for salam, they usually enter, well, they only enter from this side. So it's from this side that the ladies will enter. So you are very close to, your hotel is closer to the ladies section. That's probably our mosque. The main hotels are behind, but our hotel is also behind on the left hand side. Again, just some more pictures. You can see Jannatul Baqi very, very clearly. That is where lots of companions of the Prophet ﷺ are buried. Also, the family of the Prophet ﷺ is buried there. The wives of the Prophet ﷺ, the children of the Prophet ﷺ. Also, many companions, Usman ibn Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Usman ibn Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Many companions are buried in that cemetery. The entrance is over there for the entrance for Jannatul Baqi. Now, the ladies are not allowed to go in Jannatul Baqi. The ladies are not allowed to go. So when you go and give your son, it is commendable, mustahab, to try and visit the Jannatul Baqi, to give salams to the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. So any of the days that you are there, After Fajr, after Asr is usually open. You go there, just visit there, try and read some Quran, try and remember the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward them for all the sacrifices that they gave for us. Because all the companions, all the tabi'een, all the people who have been buried there are very, very fortunate. The Prophet ﷺ said that he will intercede for his ummah, and the first people he will intercede for are those who are buried in Medina Munawwarah. So these people are very fortunate. This is why as Umar radiallahu ta'ala used to make dua, that oh Allah, give me shahada and also give me death in your the city of your beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's the entrance for the men. The women, when they want to give salam to the people of the Baqi, then you can come over here and just with respect face towards Jannatul Baqi and just give salam from there. And try and remember the sacrifices of those people who are buried here, pray some Quran and send them on the deceased. That's the front of the masjid, that's where the Prophet ﷺ is buried. Those women who are in menstruation and not able to enter into the masjid, they should come from outside. So our hotel is on the back over here. You should come outside and give your salam from here, on the outside. You don't have to enter the masjid. But if you are able to enter the masjid, then it's better. But if not, then there is nothing wrong in coming outside in the state of wudu and then giving your salams to the Prophet ﷺ every single day from outside the masjid. That's one of the point over there. So visiting the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, it is a great privilege for the pilgrims to visit our beloved Prophet ﷺ's grave. The Prophet ﷺ said, the person who comes solely for the purpose of paying a visit to my grave has the right only that I should intercede for him. So anyone who visits the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, inshallah, the Prophet ﷺ will intercede for you on the day of judgment. In another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, لا تشد الرحال إلا إلى ثلاث مساجد المسجد الحرام والمسجد هذا والمسجد الأقصى. That no journey should be undertaken to any mosque except to the Masjid al-Haram, this mosque of mine, and Masjid al-Aqsa. And one prayer in my mosque is better than 1,000 prayers in any other mosque except Masjid al-Haram. So anyone who performs salah, whether it's nafil salah or whether it's farz salah, it will be 1,000 times more rewarded than any other place, except Masjid al-Haram, because Masjid al-Haram, the mosque in Makkah, is 100,000 times more. 100,000 times more. But this masjid, the Prophet ﷺ's masjid, 1,000 times more. And especially the ladies, if you are able to go, because there's a special ladies section, you should attend the masjid for your prayers. So 1,000 times more for anyone who performs a prayer. So what will happen? When you get to Medina Munawwarah, you will be taken to your hotel. After placing your luggage at your residence, now it might be salah time, and you might not be able to go for salam at that time. So at least go perform your salah in the masjid, and then you come back. And then if it's not salah time, then after placing your luggage at your residence, take a bath or perform ablutions, wear your best clothing, apply perfume, and proceed towards the beloved Prophet ﷺ mosque while entering Jerusalem. One point to note down, if you've got your pens and papers, is whilst you are in Medina Munawwarah, you should be thinking that this is the place where the Prophet ﷺ migrated to. That is why I'm here. Number one. Number two, this is the place where the Prophet ﷺ might have placed his foot. And me, so simple, what am I doing here? One should feel guilty that me, such a simple person, if I put my foot here, hundreds of years ago, thousand years ago, 1400 years ago, is that place will be thinking that look at this simple person, he's putting his foot here when my beloved Prophet put his foot here and I was so happy before. You should be feeling regret and remorse and feeling that I am nothing and look where I am here today, and should be feeling grateful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken you there. Allah has taken us there. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes us there, then whilst we are in Medina Munawwarah, the most best form of dhikr, the best form of dhikr is durood on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Salat on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All the time, keep your tongue busy. Keep your tongue busy in dhikr and making durood on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And one of my teachers, he used to say that you should, whenever you are walking in Medina Munawwarah, one foot you should be saying durood on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the second foot you should be saying astaghfirullah. Why? Because you are trying to say to Allah that, oh Allah, send durood on the Prophet ﷺ, and I seek forgiveness that I am even stepping foot on this city where the Prophet ﷺ's feet was once, or where the companions were. Who am I? And what kind of effort they made for the deen, and what kind of effort have I made for the deen? And we should be in that kind of mindset, and then we will feel the real love for the Prophet ﷺ whilst we are in Medina. So once we are ready to proceed towards the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, or the Prophet's mosque, then we will be entering the Durood Sharif of the Prophet ﷺ all the time. Enter the mosque through Bab al-Jibreel or Bab al-Salam. That's only recommended, but it's not necessary. And it might be difficult because you are in that corner of the masjid at the back, so you enter through any door. Once you enter, then enter with your right foot first. Place your right foot first in the entrance, praise Allah, and recite durood on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Recite durood on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the sunnah way of entering into the masjid is you put your right foot first and you say Bismillah. First you say Bismillah. And then you say Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Salat and salam on the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. And then Allahumma aftahli abwab rahmatik. O Allah, open the doors of your mercy. This is a dua which the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to read. There's another dua which the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to read. أعوذ بالله العظيم وبوجهه الكريم وسلطانه القديم من الشيطان الرجيم. If you know that dua, then you pray that dua as well. After putting your right foot, now before you enter the mosque, you will be taking off your shoes or your sandals or your slippers, and you will have a bag with you. So when you take off your shoes or your sandals, you take off the left first and then the right. Why? Because it's the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Take off your left and then your right. When you're putting your shoes back on, when you come back out of the masjid, you put your right first and then your left. These might seem small sunnah, but anything which the Prophet ﷺ did is not small in the eyes of Allah. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ. Say, if you love Allah, then follow me, Allah will love you. So especially in the city of the Prophet ﷺ, we try to follow every single sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And another tip, try and buy a book which has the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So that you learn all the sunnahs of the Prophet ﷺ and you try and act upon them whilst you are in the city of the Prophet ﷺ. So you enter into the masjid. And if it's not an undesirable makruh time, which is after Fajr or after Asr or Zawal time, then you read 2 rakats Tahiyyat Masjid. 2 rakats Tahiyyat Masjid, welcome when you come into the masjid. And then it says preferably in Riyadh al-Jannah, but it's very difficult to get there. So anyway, in the masjid, read 2 rakats salah. You will have your bag with you of shoes. There are lots of shoe racks there with numbers. So you find a shoe rack where you will remember that number and you put your bag there. In Medina Munawwara, they don't usually go missing. In other places, they sometimes go missing. Yes, I know it's Medina and Makkah, but you have to be careful. Okay, so the main entrance for the women, like I said, is on the left-hand side, so you will enter here. The men's entrance through the middle, and you will enter here. This is the front courtyard where you've got the umbrellas here, and this is where Riyadh al-Jannah is. This is where the grave of the Prophet ﷺ is. This is the Salam entrance, Bab al-Salam. The women will enter here, and then when it's their time for Salam, they will be told after Zohar or after Isha, and their barriers will be open, their doors will be opened up. And what usually happens is that unfortunately women start running all the way down here. Here is the Prophet ﷺ resting, and women are running in the masjid. Astaghfirullah. Yes, we have come to give salam on the Prophet ﷺ, but let's do it with respect. It is better to be some women who have run and made a lot of commotion to get over here, and there are women who have quietly, with respect, understanding and having consideration for the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, walk quietly, and they ended up behind here. These women are better than these women. Why? Because these women have run, made noise, and given taklif and to the Prophet ﷺ, whereas these women here, they have respected the Prophet ﷺ and given salam properly. So don't rush just to get to the front. You quietly walk as much as possible, and then slowly, a space will open up, and you will be able to get as close as possible. But it's not about who is the closest to the grave of the Prophet ﷺ. There are many people who give salam to the Prophet ﷺ thousands of miles away, and the Prophet ﷺ is more pleased with them than the person who is standing here and giving salam here. Because of the way they give salam, because of the respect that they have for the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So always remember, it's the respect that is more important than how close you get to it. Similarly, the men, after you read your 2 rakats, then you can come out of this door here and then enter through Salam Gate. And when you enter through Salam Gate, then you will be entering through here, over here. And you will be walking, and you will see lots of people in a queue coming towards continuous flow of the public towards the Salam. And this is the grave of the Prophet ﷺ here. Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu here. This is the face Mubarak of the Prophet ﷺ, face Mubarak of Hazrat Abu Bakr, face Mubarak of Hazrat Umar, facing towards the Qibla here. When people are walking here, they will be continuously walking and giving salams. That is the first part you will see in the next picture here. Here, and here. So Prophet ﷺ, Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, and Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, over here. So when you are walking, the first part, which I will show you again, is a continuous flow of people. So you'll be able to give salam quickly and you carry on, because the flow of people is too quick. And then you carry on and give salam to Abu Bakr Siddiq, and you carry on and you give salam to Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala, and you carry on and you go straight out. This is only for the men from the front. The women will be behind here. You will not see this. Okay? You will be giving salam from behind the Prophet ﷺ or from the side. Going back to the men, so the continuous flow of public is here, you give your salams here. For the men, if you want more time to give salam, then I would suggest you, when you come where the Imam stands over here, after that try and take a right here before this pillar. If you take a right and you come to the wall and you walk up to here, then you get time to give salams here. You'll be able to stand there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes and give salams with respect. So my suggestion would be that rather than going to the continuous flow of the public, once you get to around here, then you take a detour towards the wall, and then you come here, and then you'll be able to stand here for a long time and give your salams with respect. Then you'll be able to give salams from yourself, your family, etc., etc. So, standing in front of the grave of the Prophet ﷺ and facing it, saying the respectful and quiet voice, As-salamu alayka ayyuhan nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Salam on you, O Nabi, O Prophet, O Messenger. And may the barakah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon you. So, As-salamu alayka ayyuhan nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Similarly, you can say, As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Rasulullah, As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Habiballah, As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya khayr khalqillah. All the different laqab and the names of the Prophet ﷺ that you know, you say, As-salatu was-salamu alayka, Salat and salam on you, O Messenger of Allah, Salat and salam on you, O Prophet of Allah, Salat and salam on you, O the beloved of Allah. After you've offered salam on the Prophet ﷺ, then offer salams on the Prophet ﷺ on behalf of your mother, on behalf of your father, on behalf of your brother, on behalf of your sister, on behalf of your children, on behalf of all your relatives who have, or any friends who have told you that please give salams to the Prophet ﷺ on behalf of me. So then you give salams on behalf of everyone who you remember. Then you move slightly towards the right, and then the next hall is Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and you give salams to him, and you supplicate to the Almighty to bestow His mercy and forgiveness on him, because of all the sacrifices that he gave towards the deen and towards the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then you move slightly to the right again, and then give salam to Hazrat Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, greet him and supplicate to the Almighty to bestow His mercy and forgiveness on him as well. Then you will move slightly towards the right, towards the door, and then you will face Qibla. You don't face towards the grave of the Prophet ﷺ or any other grave. You face towards Kaaba and Qibla, and then you make dua. Now sometimes the people there who are guarding the grave of the Prophet ﷺ or the police, they'll usher you out. If they usher you out, then you go outside and then you make your dua towards Qibla. Fine. But if you get time, then you make dua there, and you face Qibla. Okay? Even the women, when they are going to the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, when you are facing the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, you give salams, and then if you move slightly towards the right, rather than facing the grave and making dua, because somebody might think that you're making dua to the Prophet ﷺ. You don't make dua to the Prophet ﷺ, you face, move towards the side, and you make dua to Qibla, facing towards the Qibla. Okay? Then move along, face Qibla and make dua. Now, if somebody is going to stay there for 40 salah in Masjid al-Nabawi, then it is virtuous, but it's not necessary. There is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ which mentions that if a person stays in Medina Munawwara and performs 40 salah, and there's a hadith which mentions it in any mosque, and finds the takbir al-ula, reads the Jamaat salah with the Imam, when he says Allah for the first time, then it is as if he is free from hypocrisy. So for that reward, some people say that you should try and read 40 prayers in the Prophet's mosque consecutively, but if that's not possible, it's not necessary. It is not a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. It is just recommended if it's possible. Okay? So don't regret if you can't do that. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, "Ma bayna bayti wa minbari rawdatun min riyad al-jannah," that there is a garden from the gardens of paradise between my house and my pulpit, and my pulpit is on my lake. So this part between the minbar, the pulpit of the Prophet ﷺ, and the golden gate where the Prophet ﷺ, where the grave of the Prophet ﷺ is. So between the minbar and the where the Prophet ﷺ's grave is, because that's where his house was, that part of the carpet is known as Riyad al-Jannah, the garden of paradise. Prophet ﷺ is the garden of paradise. Now the women, when you are allowed to go to the front, then the whole section, so there will be a different color, just like this is red and this is beige color. Similarly, the gardens of paradise will be that color. Over there, it's called a green carpet usually, it's a greenish carpet. And the color will be different. So that part is known as the garden of paradise, Riyad al-Jannah. The women's section does not allow the full section to be opened for the women. Only half the section is open for the women. So if you get right to the front, then you will be able to pray in the Riyad al-Jannah. If you don't get right to the front, then you will not be able to pray in Riyad al-Jannah. Now, like I said, you don't rush to the front. If you walk quietly, respectfully to the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, and then wait for one woman to come back, and you move forward slightly. Wait for one woman to come back, move forward slightly. If you keep on waiting, and just move forward slightly, inshallah you will be able to pray your 2 rakats there, and then you will be able to come back. Okay, so don't fight. To harm somebody is haram. To hurt somebody is haram. To punch somebody is haram. And people do punch there as well. To punch somebody is haram. To swear at somebody is haram. To push somebody is haram. To pray your salah there is not faras. To pray your salah there is not wajib. To pray your salah there is not sunnah. It's a mustahab, it's recommended, it's virtuous. But it doesn't mean that your hajj is not accepted. But you spoil your hajj and your journey if you harm somebody. So what does it mean by between my minbar and house there's this Rawdat al-Jannah, this green carpet here. So just like there is only mercy in Jannah, similar there will be mercy here in this part of the mosque. A person who reaches here becomes worthy of a place in Jannah. So these are the different meanings which the ulama have given. You'll get them in your slides when you receive them. The significant pillars in the Rawdah. So when the women are usually, your section will stop over here. There'll be a barrier put up here, and you'll be able to reach up to here. So this part is the Riyad al-Jannah for you. The men will be able to read here when the women are not here. And these are the minbars and the pulpits and the pillars that are significant in the Prophet ﷺ's mosque. That's the mihrab of the Prophet ﷺ. This is the pillar of Adnana. This is the pillar of Aisha, this is the pillar of Tawbah, and in the following slides, which you receive when you receive them, I've mentioned what these pillars mean, so I don't need to go through them now. It's just remembering some of the history of the Prophet ﷺ, the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Other places to visit, some of the other important places to visit are Masjid al-Quba, Jannat al-Nafiq, and the graves of Hazrat Hamza and other martyrs of Uhud, and Masjid al-Qiblatain. And we will be doing that as part of our journey. So when we get there will be one day, one morning, which will be allocated around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. We will leave, we will visit Masjid al-Quba, we will visit the Uhud and the martyrs of Uhud, and we will visit Masjid al-Qiblatain. Okay, so we'll talk about that when we get there. And that's the Medina part then. Everybody will be, when we get to Medina Munawwara, I will be there from the 6th or 7th of October. If there's any questions, I'll be there to answer those questions as well. There will be a box at the hotel which will be labeled Islamic question and answers. If you have any questions, just pop your question in there. If it's urgent, then you text me and I will inshallah answer when I receive the text. After I get there. I'm not going to text you from here. They're not paying for that. Now moving on to the Hajj. Hajj in the Quran, وَأَذِّنْ فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا وَعَلَىٰ كُلِّ ضَامِرٍ يَأْتِينَ مِنْ كُلِّ فَجٍّ عَمِيقٍ. This verse is in the Quran, chapter 22, Surah Hajj, verse number 27. And proclaim to mankind the Hajj, the pilgrimage. They will come to you on foot and on every lean camel. They will come from every deep and distant, wide mountain highway to perform the Hajj. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, he built the Kaaba. When he built the Kaaba, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, وَأَذِّنْ فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ. Proclaim to mankind the Hajj. Tell them to come and do the Hajj around this Kaaba. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam said, there's only me and Ismail here, Hajra alayhi salatu wasalam here. Who is going to come? Who's going to hear my voice? There's nobody here in the desert. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, it's your job to proclaim, and it's my job to make sure the voice reaches the people. And in the Mufassirun, the commentators of the Quran have written that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam made the adhan and made the proclamation, then every single human being who was to come after him, all the souls were in one place, and they all heard the call of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. And some of us said, labbaik once, so we will perform Hajj once. Some of us said, labbaik twice, we will perform Hajj twice. Some people said, Hajj, labbaik 10 times, they will perform Hajj 10 times. Some people said, Hajj, labbaik 50 times, they will perform Hajj 50 times. So whoever said labbaik at that time, inshallah they will all be performing Hajj. Inshallah you have said it more than once. Inshallah. Say inshallah. You don't want to go again? And then Hajj is done in special months. It's the Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, and the 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, and their specific dates. And this is mentioned in the Quran as well. But the main thing which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in this verse, Surah Baqarah, verse number 197, that when you go for Hajj, when you are ihram for Hajj, then there is no sexual relations with the wife, no committing sin, no disputing. So there should be no fights, no quarrels, no sins, and no relationships with the wife. This is very important. So many times, because there's so many people, and some people have short fuses, they need to change their fuse before they go. Go to the electrician, go to the Maulana, go and change your fuse, make sure it's long, not short, so when you get angry, you are able to cope with your anger. Because this will spoil your Hajj. Allah says in the Quran, no disputing, no quarreling, no fighting. And that's very important during the Hajj. So many people spoil their Hajj by fighting and quarreling. And then there's lots of reward for performing the Hajj. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Hajj al-Mabrur laysa lahu jazaa'un illa al-Jannah. That Hajj al-Mabrur, there is no reward except Jannah. That anyone who gets a Hajj al-Mabrur, they will not receive anything except the Jannah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Prophet ﷺ was asked what is the best action, and the Prophet ﷺ said Iman. Then he said, what's after that? He said Jihad. And he said, what's after that? He said Hajj. And then in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, Man hajja falam yarfus walam yaksuk raja'a kayawmin waladatu ummuh. That whoever performs the Hajj and does not commit any sin and does not do any sexual relations with the wife, then he will come out as sinless as a newborn child. And then, as Aisha radiallahu ta'ala asked, O Prophet of Allah, we think that jihad is the best of action. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that the best of jihad for women is Hajj al-Mabrur. In another hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, again, there is no day when Allah sets free more servants from hell than the day of Arafah. The day of Arafah is the most important day of Hajj, the 9th of Zulhijjah. So when we are on the day of Arafah, we'll make lots of dua. And the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that Shaitan gets most angry on this day, any day of the year. Because so many souls are forgiven on this day, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives so many people, that Shaitan becomes very, very angry. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, follow between Hajj and Umrah, for they chase away poverty and sins, just as a blacksmith's bellows removes impurities from iron, gold and silver, and there is no reward for Hajj Mabrur except for Jannah. So what is a Hajj Mabrur? Prophet ﷺ kept on mentioning this, that anyone who receives Hajj Mabrur, then they will receive Jannah. And this is what we are trying to achieve, because we are all going for Hajj, but it's not only about performing Hajj, it's about performing and achieving Hajj Mabrur. So what is this Hajj Mabrur? It's an accepted Hajj. Mabrur means accepted. And what is a sign of acceptance? The ulama have mentioned that a Hajj free of sin, conducted with full obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is a Hajj Mabrur. So you are conscious from the day you leave the airport till the time you come back that you do not commit any sin. With your tongue, with your eyes, with your ears. Sometimes you might find that somebody has let you down. So in your room you start backbiting. Somebody has troubled you in the masjid. That, oh, you know that Asian, or you know that African woman, you know that Asian woman, you know that Malaysian woman, that she pushed me whilst we went for salam. So instead of receiving reward, we've already done some backbiting, so that salam has gone and your reward has gone as well. It's very easy to backbite in these journeys. And that's why we need to be very conscious. No backbiting, no sin. No troubling, no sin whatsoever. Keep your eyes focused as well. Your eyes should not wander whilst you are in Medina Munawwarah or whilst you are in Makkah al-Mukarramah. It's very important that eyes stay away from sin, the ears stay away from sin, and the tongue stays away from sin. A Hajj performed with the intention of seeking Allah's pleasure only and not to show off, that is Hajj Mabrur. A Hajj performed in accordance with the Sunnah, this is another saying of one of the scholars, that this is Hajj Mabrur. And one of the most common meanings which has been mentioned by the ulama is that Hajj, that when you come back, your life changes, that is a Hajj Mabrur. If your life changes for the better, and you have a better connection with your Creator Allah, after you return from Hajj, then that is a sign that your Hajj was accepted. But if you come back and just when you land at the airport, your hijab has gone flying into your bag. And some people may laugh at this, but I have seen people that they have not even gone past check-in at the airport, landing at Stansted Airport, and the hijab has gone. I'm not saying that the Hajj is not accepted, but the signs of an accepted Hajj is that your hijab stays on, your connection with Allah becomes stronger, and your life changes for the better. That is a sign of an accepted Hajj. And one should go with that intention that, oh Allah, I am coming to your house to change my life. I am coming to the Prophet ﷺ so that I learn what he did for us, and so I come back and change my life for the better, and change my life towards his life. That is the intention that one should go with. So Hajj Mabrur, the best meaning which has been mentioned is that you perform Hajj, and then you perform Hajj in a mindset that when you return, you will totally change your life and become Allah's beloved. That is what we are aiming for. The preparation for Hajj. First of all, the most important is sincerity. What is your intention to go for Hajj? Now some people, they'll go for Hajj because their parents have been nagging for a long time. Everybody's done Hajj except you. But tell, go now. You have to go. When are you going to go? And Dhakka Dini and Dhakka Marka, and then eventually my mom and dad always nagging, I need to go. So that intention is not going to help. Some people, they're seeing that my sisters, Hajjari, my brother's Haji, my son who's 25, he's also Haji, but I haven't become Haji. So I need that label. So I need to go get that label, so they go for Hajj, for the label. On a train in India, there were two people traveling, and the person thought that the person in front of him is Muslim. And they said, "Salaam alaikum, brother." And they said, "Wa alaikum salam." She said, "Oh yeah, alhamdulillah, he's Muslim." He said, "What's your name?" He says, "Haji Abdullah." She said, "What's your name?" He said, "Namazi Muhammad." "Salati Muhammad." She said, "What kind of name is it?" He said, "Well, how many times have you been Hajj?" He said, "Once." He said, "You've been Hajj once and you call yourself Haji Abdullah." "I pray namaz every day, so I'm Namazi Muhammad." So some people, they just want this label. That when can I have this label? So it should be only for Allah. Only for Allah. That Allah, this is your order. And you have ordered us to come to your house. And that's the only reason I'm going. Only for your house. Only for you. For nobody else. And keep on reminding yourself in the next 2 weeks, you remind yourself, why am I going? I'm going for Allah. Why am I going? I'm going for Allah. And I'm so fortunate that Allah is taking me out of 1 billion Muslims around the world. Allah has chosen you. Is it that there are more, everybody else is poorer than you? Is that why they're not going? Nobody else has enough money, is that why they're not going? There are hundreds and thousands and millions of Muslims around the world who are richer than us. There are hundreds and thousands of Muslims who live closer to Makkah and Medina than us. And yet they have not performed the Hajj. In fact, there was one story I heard from the Sheikh once, and he mentioned in the talk that there was a worker who went from Egypt, he was an engineer, and he lived in Makkah for 8 years. 8 years. When he returned home, the parents and the family came to him and thought, you must have performed Hajj 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And he said, "No, I didn't perform Hajj." He stayed in Makkah for 8 years and he didn't perform Hajj. Why? Because this is a tawfiq of Allah. If you are going, then it is Allah who is taking you. You are not going because of your money. Remember this. None of us are going because of our money. How many people, Ibrahim is here, Shabir is here, how many people gave money this year to go for Umrah in Ramadan? And how many did not end up going? How many, Ibrahim? From your group? 30 people from his group alone. And there were hundreds and thousands who had paid to go for Umrah in the month of Ramadan this year, but then the Saudi government decided that because of the work that's going on, we don't have enough space, and they stopped the visas. They had paid thousands of pounds. Why? Because Allah is not looking at the money. Allah is not looking at visas. Allah is the one who will take us from here to there. Sometimes He takes you without visa. Sometimes He takes you without money. It's only Allah who takes you. So don't think you are going because you have the money. Don't think you are going because of your status. Only think that Allah, I have made the intention, I have given the money, I have given the passport. Only you are the one who will give that visa, and only you are the one who will take me from here all the way to your house. Only you are the one. Keep it in your heart and keep on making dua. Allah, we have done what we need to do. Oh Allah, now you accept it from us and you take us. It is only Allah who takes us. Sincere, only for Allah. Allah, I am only going for you. Oh Allah, you take us. Oh Allah, you take us. And if you take us, we are extremely grateful. Out of 1 billion people you have chosen us, who are we to even step foot next to the Kaaba? But Allah, you are taking us. Oh Allah, we are grateful, very grateful. We should be in tears. That Allah, you are taking us next to your house, next to your Prophet's grave. We don't deserve this. What have we done for Allah's deen? Nothing. But Allah takes us. So always be grateful and be conscious that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is taking us. Number 1. So be sincere. Number 2, be grateful. Number 3, repentance from all past sins. Before we go to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, before we go to the house of Allah, we should think that we are going to a holy place. Yes, we are going there to get our forgiveness, but also take your forgiveness before. That we don't want to go in a dirty state. We don't want to go with a heart which is polluted with sins. Allah, please forgive our sins. Oh Allah, when we go to the Prophet ﷺ, if he was given the eyes to see my heart, what क्या मुंह लेके जाएंगे? What face are we going to take with us? What heart are we going to take with us? And Allah, you know our heart condition anyway. So Allah, please forgive our sins. Oh Allah, please forgive our sins. Every single time, ask forgiveness before we go there, so that when we get there, inshallah, we are already cured. We are already cured. Resolve outstanding differences and seek forgiveness from others. This is something which is sometimes very difficult. Sometimes people say, well, my brother doesn't speak to me, वो मेरे पास आए माफी मांगने के लिए, मैं हज के लिए जा रहा हूँ, अगर वो माफी के लिए आया तो मैं उसके लिए दुआ करूँगा, वरना नहीं. If my brother is not speaking to me, then I'm the one who's going for Hajj, therefore he should come to me, whereas I won't make dua for him. So uski garz hai. No, it's our duty to pick up the phone, no matter if it's their fault. On the day of judgment, we are looking for Allah's mercy. On the day of judgment, we are looking for Allah's forgiveness. And if we are not able to forgive here, then Allah will say, if you weren't able to forgive your brother here, if you weren't able to forgive your sister here, if you weren't able to forgive your relatives here, then why should I forgive you? Small differences, petty differences. We have committed major sins, and we want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us. Then if we want Allah to forgive our major sins, then we should be able to forgive our small petty differences with our brothers and sisters. So pick up the phone. Any differences you have, you say, brother, I know you and I don't talk, and we haven't spoken for, but the only reason I'm going is I'm going for Hajj, please forgive me. That please forgive me is very difficult. Nak, you have to put your nose down. You have to put your heart down. You feel, oh, izzat ka sawal hai. My honor. But what is our honor in front of Allah's honor? Allah will become so pleased with you. So pleased with you. Just pick up that phone. And whether they forgive or not, that's not your problem. All you are there, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you, my brother. Assalamu alaikum. This is a dua you are giving to that person you don't speak to. And then you tell them that, please forgive me. Even if it's their fault, please forgive me. I'm going for Hajj and I want to settle all my differences. Very difficult, but do it. Allah will be very pleased with you before you go to Allah. Pay and record all debts. Because we don't know whether we will come back, we need to write down any debts. Pay and record all debts. Write your will. We don't know who's going to come back, who's not going to come back. Inshallah, we will all come back. You want to come back as well? That's good as well. You want to die in Medina, Makkah, it's fine. I want to die there as well, I'd rather die afterwards. After a few more years. I want bigger innings, longer innings. So write your will. Very important to write your will. Make sure the wealth to be used for Hajj is from halal sources. Very important. You've already given your money, but inshallah it's from halal sources. It's very important that every single penny that we spend is from halal. If you remember the story of the Kaaba being rebuilt at the time of Prophet ﷺ, Prophet ﷺ was 35 years old. A flood came and demolished the Kaaba. The Kaaba was being rebuilt. Prophet ﷺ was not a prophet then. The Kaaba was being rebuilt by the mushrikun, by the polytheists, the idol worshippers. And they built the Kaaba and they didn't build the Hatim, the extra part. Why? Because they didn't have enough money. It wasn't that they didn't have enough money, they didn't have enough halal money. Even the polytheists, they considered the non-halal money as filth and they didn't build the Kaaba, the extra Kaaba, because they didn't have enough money, halal money. So when we go, we only take halal money. But take enough, eh? Make sure you take enough. You don't want to borrow from Shapir, right? Well, we're going to break here now, because it's nearly Zohar time. There is a mosque opposite here, just next to Fahir. Continue, people who are waiting for tea, please just listen whilst you're getting your tea as well. Continue where we left off, inshallah. So we talked about sincerity, repentance, writing your will, etc. Just carrying on about your mindset. Mindset is very important, and I think whoever is going for Hajj, like I said, This is be very, very grateful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is taking this. And this journey is one of your most important journeys in your life. Ever, ever. There is no more important journey than the journey of Hajj. This will inshallah change your life. It should, in your heart, you should be thinking that this is going to change my life. And to achieve this, when you are on your journey, choose the company of the righteous. Choose good company. If you find somebody here and you say, she's very talkative, so I'll stay with her. That's not going to help. So, what you should think is, she's very talkative, so I need to stay away from her. Not pointing fingers. It could be a he as well, but it's very common to be a she. So, whether it's a he or whether it's a she, it doesn't matter. It's not about that person who you will be with all the time. In terms of talking and chatting and having good company. It should be somebody who will say to you, oh, have we read our Salah today? Have we read our Durood Sharif today? Have we read our 5 Sibaras today? Have we read how many Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, the Tasbih that Maulana said that we should read? Have we read that today? Then we shouldn't talk. In the masjid, if that is going to be your partner in the masjid, fine. But as long as you are praying and they are praying, fine. But if they are sitting next to you and they try to remind you, oh, your children are going to remember you so much, and then you start crying in the masjid. What use is that? No, it's not about remembering your children, it's about remembering why you're there and trying to achieve your objectives while you're there. Learn as much as possible about Hajj and Umrah. So, when you're talking about Hajj and Umrah, there are two main things. One is the fiqh of how to perform the Hajj and Umrah, number one. So, what are the rules? What are the do's and don'ts? How do you perform the Hajj? How do you perform the Umrah? How do you perform the Tawaf? How do you perform the Sa'i? All the rules that we need to perform the Hajj and Umrah, make sure we try and learn them. Today we're doing some of that. But you need to have a book. Choose one book. Now there are differences of opinion within the four schools of thought. Imam Hanifa, Imam Shafi, Imam Malik, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. There are slight differences of opinion, but majority are very similar. So, according to your faith, try and get a book. Azhar Academy bookshop online, they usually have the Hanafi books, and any small book which is very, very simple is better. Don't try and buy 3 books, because one book will say this, the other book will say this, and 3 books will say this, third book will say this, and then will say, do I do this or this or this? Then we follow Maulana Sahib. And Maulana Sahib, one book says this, one book says this. And then you're going to say, next Masala, Maulana Sahib, one book. No, Maulana Sahib said, pick one book, so that you don't have to phone me. And then if you have to phone me because of that one book, that is fine. But if you're going to tell me that these 3 books are saying different, then don't tell me, please. Okay? So there are slight differences of opinion. All differences of opinion are based on the Quran, Hadith, the saying of the scholar, saying of the Sahaba, but it's come from different companions, that's why there's a difference of opinion. There's nothing major with this, but make sure you take at least one book and follow that one book. Maulana Salim Durad Sir has written very simple books of how to perform Umrah, how to perform Hajj, how to do the Salam on the Prophet ﷺ, and how to spend your time in Makkah, Mukarramah, Medina, Munawwarah. Maulana Salim Durad Sir. Maulana Muhammad Salim Durad Sir. You can buy these books maybe at Azhar Academy bookshop. Small books, very small books. Or IDA UK. IDA UK is their website. And he did a bayan recently as well. You might be able to order from there as well. They're very, very small books and not very expensive either. Number 2, so one is how to perform. Number 2 is the spiritual nature of Hajj. The spiritual nature of Hajj. So, what is the spiritual significance of my journey? Why am I going? What's the spiritual significance of Makkah? What is it in Medina? What is it about Masjid al-Quba? And all these different places. So if you want to learn about that, the best book to buy, Fazail al-Hajj. Sheikh Muhammad Zakaria al-Kahandali. Sheikh Muhammad Zakaria, rahmatullahi alayhi, he wrote a beautiful book, Fazail al-Hajj, The Virtues of Hajj. The Virtues of Hajj. It's available in English and it's available in Urdu as well. The Virtues of Hajj. If you get that and read that from now on, Sheikh Muhammad Zakaria, rahmatullahi alayhi, Virtues of Hajj, If you get that and read that, you will start feeling that, oh, I'm going to this special place. Special place. So virtues of Hajj for the spiritual nature. And how to, there's different books. I would recommend Maulana Muhammad Salim Durad's book on the how to perform Umrah, small book, how to perform Hajj. It's a set that comes with it. And Salatu Salam as well. Memorize some dua from the Quran and Sunnah. Now, some people who come for Hajj, they sometimes don't know how to perform Salah because they've been away from the religion for a while. They might not know how to read some of the surahs. So please try and freshen up on how to perform Salah properly, how to read some of the surahs, learn some du'as from the Quran and Sunnah. So, which dua is very important? 6 du'as. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. These small du'as, and what is the meaning of these du'as? So, when you are there, the du'as you can, Allah is not only looking for du'as from the Quran and Sunnah. You can make du'as. You can make du'as in your own language. That's not an issue. No problem. But if you make some du'as from Quran and Sunnah, it's better. But if you don't, it doesn't matter. Allah is looking for your heart. Your heart is very valuable in the eyes of Allah. If you give your heart to Allah, Allah will give you everything. You ask from your heart, Allah will give you. And that's the yaqeen and that's the conviction that you need to go with. That if I ask Allah with my heart in any language, then Allah will give me. So that's what you need to go with in your heart. Learn how to pray during a flight and how to pray Salatul Janazah. Now, if you are flying and the Salah time comes, how do I perform Salah in the prayer? How do I perform Salah in the aeroplane? So, some people in the aeroplane, they'll be, well, I'm going to Medina, I haven't got there yet, so let's watch a movie. Stuff like that. This is what I mean by mindset. It's about changing your mindset before you go. That this is a special journey. In this journey, no sins. My mind should be on Allah and the Prophet ﷺ. So when you are going, no movies. When you are going, if this Salah time, then if there's only a small break between you getting on the flight and getting onto the plane, then make sure you are already with wudu. And then if you are able to pray standing up, then you pray standing up. If you are not, then you pray on your seat. According to some scholars, after you've read your Salah on your plane, then when you get down on the ground in Jeddah airport or Medina, then you repeat that prayer. But you shouldn't miss your prayer on the plane. Okay? But if you pray standing up, then you don't have to repeat it. If you pray sitting down, then you have to repeat it. That's according to some of the scholars. Learn how to pray Salatul Janazah. Meaning after every salah, there will be Salatul Janazah. There's lots of deaths in Medina, lots of deaths in Makkah. So the Imam, after the salah, will say, As-Salatul Janazah, or As-Salatu Yarhamukumullah, Salatul Mayyit Yarhamukumullah, Salatul Amwat Yarhamukumullah. And so there'll be a salat for one dead person or two dead people. So learn how to perform Salatul Janazah. There are, on some websites you'll be able to learn that. So try and learn the dua. There are 4 takbeers. What do you say after the first takbeer? What do you say? Just quickly, after first, you say Allahu Akbar and before your arms. And after first takbeer, you read salah, like you read normal salah. After second takbeer, you read Durood Sharif. After third takbeer, you read the dua for the mayyit, to ask forgiveness for the deceased. And after fourth takbeer, you do salah. But you don't have to put your hands at every takbeer. Only the first takbeer you put your hand, and you fold it, and then after that, Allahu Akbar, and you read Durood Sharif, Allahu Akbar, and then you read the dua, and Allahu Akbar, and then you do salah. Okay, that's just physical preparation and medical checkup. Hajj is not easy. Hajj is not really for the old people or for the weak. And there's a lot of walking, there's a lot of pushing, there's a lot of struggles. So we should be mentally prepared for that. Don't think you come back to the hotel and you say, where's Shabir? Shabir, I got pushed in the masjid. Where were you? This is part and parcel of Hajj. Yeah. When I was going to Mina, I got lost. Sorry, that's not Shabir's fault or Ibrahim's fault. We need to think about where we are going, and at times, during Tawaf especially, similarly at pelting the stone, sometimes there's lots of people. So be mentally prepared. And that's why one of the tips that I'm going to tell you is, don't think that we're going to go as a large group of 96 people. Come on everybody, let's go for tawaf. Come on everybody, let's go and pelt the stones. I mean, shaitans, yeah, I mean, he might get a bit scared if 100 people go. But that's not the objective. Yeah? It's about 4 or 5 people who can stick together, or 10 people who can stick together. That's more constructive and more beneficial than taking a group of 40 and then one person gets lost and we all worry about where's the one person gone. So, and walking, there's a lot of walking. From Shisha to Mina, Mina to Jamarat, there's a lot of walking. So if you are not used to walking, my advice to you is start walking in the next 2 weeks. Go to the local park, go 1 tawaf, 2 tawafs, 3 tawafs. Yeah? Don't think the Kaaba's there. Don't stop making your du'as. Yeah? But just at least get your feet ready. And try and use the same footwear that you're going to use there. Very important tip. That if you're going to use, for, sometimes people say that Islam doesn't look after women. Women are able to wear trainers, shoes, anything they want when they're going for Hajj. And there's so much walking, and we poor men, we'll be in slippers. And then the women complain all the time. So the men will be more difficult, so you need to practice either in your sandals or in your slippers. Keep on walking, because there's a lot of walking, especially in the 5 days of Hajj. So physically, you should be prepared for that walk. And medical checkup, if you need a medical checkup, make sure you've done it, you've got the right medicine that you need on the way. What should you take? So medication, so whatever medication you are on, make sure you take enough supplies for that. Okay? Take some money, take a credit card for emergencies, keep copies of passports and extra photos with you, just in case Ibrahim asks for an extra photo, we need this for your ID, or etc., etc. Scan and email your passport to yourself. So if you scan your passport and you email it to yourself, it's always there. Even if you lose your copy of your passport, we can at least get onto an email and we can find it. Security belt or Hajj belt, which Shabir is provided. Yeah, we will provide these Hajj belts. Ihram towels for men. If first stop is Makkah, you need it straight away. And make sure you don't put it in your suitcase and then you look for it on the plane. Not a good idea. Make sure it's in your hand luggage. Okay? Waist pouch, Hajj belt, comfortable and modest clothes. Women wear their normal comfortable clothes. So the ihram for the women is their normal clothes. There is no special ihram. Your normal clothes, normal shoes, normal socks, everything is fine for women. The slippers and sandals and comfortable shoes, men will wear slippers. Some sandals will be okay, but majority are not. And comfortable shoes for women. So walking wise, you need to make sure you are comfortable with the shoes that you have. No high heels in Mina. Sleeping, there'll be a camping mat if it's possible, but at least a sleeping bag and a pillow, inflatable pillow. I think some of it is provided. You need to make sure with the group. Snacks, savouries at the airport, especially, and they come in handy in Mina and Arafat. Now, majority of the people will be going to Medina Munawwara, and there's not a long wait at the airport there, compared to those people who are going to Jeddah first. If you're going to Jeddah first, then I would say the wait, you should, in your mind, you should think that you're going to wait for 12 hours at Jeddah. If they take you in 6, you'll be very happy. If they take you in 10, you'll be very happy. Maulana said 12 hours, and I'm going to 10 hours. So mentally be prepared for 12 hours. Remember that how many Hajjs are coming from all around the world, and all the administration that needs to be done, all the organization that needs to be done, all the logistics that needs to be done. So obviously it's going to take long. So be mentally prepared for this. And that's why taking some snacks or savouries in your handbag will come in handy at the airport. Okay? For those especially who are going to Jeddah, I would recommend chicken tikka or chicken or biryani. People's eyes will be on you. Unscented Vaseline and band-aids. You're not allowed to wear any scent or perfume whilst in ihram. So Vaseline, you need some band-aids or some bandages, travel-sized toiletries, nail clipper, small scissors, comb, small flashlight. In Muzdalifah, you'll be lost. A small flashlight comes in handy. Don't rely on the flashlight on your phone because the battery might have gone by now. Okay? Travel alarm clock, batteries, a bag to carry your shoes and slippers while inside the masjid in Makkah and Medina, very useful, and a small bag for pebbles. Majority of this is provided as well. Mobile phones can make communication much easier. Make sure it's unlocked. So if you're going to put in a Saudi SIM, make sure it's able to take that SIM. You buy SIM cards from Saudi Arabia, these are going to be provided by the group. Make sure you turn your phone off in the masjid. Right, what do you need to take with you? In terms of luggage, your ticket will tell you what's your limit. 30 kilos, 25 kilos. And that limit is not only when you're going, but also when you're coming back. Some people think that it's only when you're going. When you're coming back, it's free. 60 kilos, 70 kilos. No. It's written on your ticket. Yeah, so you need to make sure that your luggage is according to your ticket and your flight. Yeah? And then if they say that, oh, you're overweight, then you don't call the group people and say, oh, the airline's not taking my luggage. It's got nothing to do with the group. Okay? But there's one thing you need to take which will not take any space or any weight. And this is lot of patience. Okay? Put a lot of it in your suitcase before you close your suitcase. Okay? Put lots of it in your hand luggage. Take some in your pocket as well. Top pocket, right pocket, left pocket. You need a lot of patience. Hajj is all about patience. It's all about patience. If you don't have patience, you're in big trouble. Yeah? You take lots of patience with you and you leave two things behind. And this is two things that you need to write down. That I need to leave behind two things. Number one, you leave comforts. The comforts you leave here. Your house, your big mansion, your Mercedes car, and everything, you leave that here. All comforts you leave here. You're not going on a 5-star holiday to Dubai. You're not going to Maldives. You're not going to Mauritius. This is not a holiday. This is Hajj. Hajj is about sacrifice. Yeah? So leave your comforts here, number one. Number two, expectations. Leave all expectations from wealthy people here, only expectations with Allah. Take all expectations with Allah, but all expectations from wealthy people you leave here. So many people, they get angry. So many people, they spoil their Hajj as soon as they land in Medina or Makkah. And they say, is this what I paid for? Is this what I paid for? I tell Shabir, and I'll say it in front of all of you. I'll tell Shabir, and I'll tell Ibrahim, and I'll tell all the crew, that whatever you have promised, it is your duty in front of Allah to deliver that. If you don't, then you will be responsible on the Day of Judgment. Any promises that they've made, they have to give to you. But your duty as customers, going for Hajj, if you are going to Dubai, I wouldn't say this. If you're going to Maldives, I wouldn't say this. If you're going to Mauritius, I wouldn't say this. But if you're going for Hajj, I will say this, and I'll say this very clearly, and I say it not only to this group, I say it to any group, any seminar that I do, general seminar or specific seminar. I say that when you go for Hajj, if the group does not deliver what it promised, then don't spoil your Hajj with your tongue. Be patient. They will be answerable on the Day of Judgment. But you don't want to spoil your Hajj by saying, oh, I paid $5,000. And look at this room. If there is something and you want to say something, say it nicely, fine. But don't bring up anger and don't bring up disappointment. Leave all your expectations behind. Why? Because if you spoil your Hajj, then your whole journey is spoiled. All you'll be doing is all the way in Medina Munawwarah you're upset. Instead of going to the Prophet ﷺ with this joy that I am here at the qabr of the Prophet ﷺ, all you are thinking, oh, that those two operators, dodgy guys, their condas, daylight robbery, etc., etc. That's what we're thinking. We're going to the masjid, Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah, those in the masjid as well, next to the grave of the Prophet ﷺ as well, you're thinking, oh, my room, man, my bed's not right, etc., etc. No, don't spoil your Hajj like this. Don't spoil your Hajj. It's very, very important. Expectations, have no expectations of these people. It's their responsibility to provide. Your responsibility to have no expectations. If they provide, alhamdulillah. If not, then I'm not going for the luxury. I'm not going for the bedroom. I'm not going for the bed. I'm not going for the 5-star. I'm not going for the platinum. I'm not going for the gold package. I'm going because of the qabr of the Prophet ﷺ. I'm going for the Kaaba. And I'm going for the Mina, and I'm going for Arafat, and I'm going for Muzdalifah. And if I get there, alhamdulillah, the 5 grand is worth it. I'm not paying for the room. I'm paying to get to the Kaaba. I'm paying to get to the Kaaba. I'm paying to get to Medina Munawwara. I'm paying to get to Mina. I'm paying to get to Arafat. I'm paying to get there. And if I get a good room, alhamdulillah. If I get a good package, alhamdulillah. If they provide what they promise, alhamdulillah, Allah reward them. If they don't, then my tongue will be silent, my heart will say everything to Allah. My heart is enough. This is why I've always given them nasiha, and I've always told them that this package of Hajj is not like providing a package for Dubai, because if you disappoint a 5-star package for Dubai, then fine, you'll be responsible. But if you spoil somebody's Hajj, then how will you stand in front of Allah? So that's my nasiha to them. That's my advice to them. But for the Hajj is my advice, don't spoil your Hajj by keeping complaining. Just try and have sabr, do not get angry, and whatever Allah provides us, as long as we get to Medina, Makkah, Mina, Arafat, Muzdalifah, inshallah, we should be happy. Inshallah. Okay, now going on to the 3 types of Hajj. There is Hajj al-Qiran, there is Hajj al-Tamattu, and there is Hajj al-Ifrad. Okay, now majority will be doing Hajj al-Tamattu. Some of you will be doing Hajj al-Ifrad, especially the 8 days one, might be doing Hajj al-Ifrad. Or you might be doing Qiran. Okay? Or you might be doing Tamattu and the Qiran. What is Qiran? What is Tamattu? What is Ifrad? Qiran means that you wear your ihram and you make your intention. Or what do you make intention of? That, oh Allah, I'm going to do Hajj and I'm going to do Umrah with this ihram. So you're going to go to Makkah, you do Umrah, you do the Tawaf, you do the Sa'i, but you don't cut your hair. Why? Because you're going to keep on this ihram. So whichever days are in between your Umrah and Hajj, if there's 5 days or 10 days, you remain in the ihram. And then when it's Hajj time, you carry on, you just go straight to Mina, in that same ihram. So what you have done, you have joined, Qiran means joined, you have joined Umrah and Hajj in one ihram. That is why it's called Qiran. Understood? Number 1. If those people of the 8 days, you might be doing Qiran. Or you could do Tamattu. Majority of people might be doing Tamattu. Tamattu is that you wear your ihram and then you say, oh Allah, I am making Umrah. You go and perform the Umrah when you get to Makkah. You do the Tawaf, you do the Sa'i, you cut your hair. And then you come out of your ihram. And then when it's the Hajj days, after 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 6 days, then you wear your ihram again, and then you say, oh Allah, I am performing Hajj. So in one trip, you are making benefit of 2 things, Umrah and Hajj. So you are taking benefit of Umrah and Hajj with one trip. That is why it's called Hajj al-Tamattu, with 2 separate ihrams. Hajj al-Ifrad is only one ihram, only for Hajj. So 8 days Hajj package, you wear your ihram before the miqat, and your only intention is to perform Hajj, not to perform Umrah. So you will go there, you will perform one tawaf, which is the welcome tawaf of the Kaaba, and then you go, when it's the time, you keep the ihram on, and then you will go and perform your Mina, Arafat, and you perform your Hajj with that. So you don't do Umrah, and you only perform Hajj. This is Hajj Ifrad. Majority will be performing Hajj Tamattu or Qiran, depending on how many days they have left. And there are different rulings for the Tawaf will be the same, the Sa'i will be the same, all the Mina, Arafat, and everything else will be the same. The only difference is Qiran and Tamattu, they have to sacrifice an animal. It's wajib. Ifrad is not wajib on them to sacrifice animal. So they don't have to, it's not wajib. If they want to, they can, but if they don't want to, they don't have to. That's one difference. Everything else is the same, except how many times you will be doing tawaf and how many times you will be doing sa'i. That's the only difference. Otherwise, everything else is the same. The qurbani is the only difference. The Everything else is how many times do you do tawaf and how many times do you do sa'i. So Hajj al-Qiran, I mentioned to you what is Hajj al-Qiran, what is Hajj al-Tamattu, what is Hajj al-Ifrad. Which one is the most virtuous Hajj? Prophet ﷺ performed Qiran. So he wore one ihram and he performed Umrah, and with the same ihram he performed Hajj. But the companions who were with him, he told them to perform Tamattu. So that is why some scholars say that Qiran is more preferable or more virtuous because Prophet ﷺ performed Qiran. Some say that no, he told the companions to perform Tamattu, so therefore that is more virtuous. And some people say, well, you're performing Hajj, so single out Hajj, and therefore that is more virtuous. So there's difference of opinion which one is more virtuous. According to the Hanafi school of thought, the Qiran is more virtuous because the Prophet ﷺ performed Qiran. You need to decide yourself. Yeah, you need to decide before you go. Before you wear your ihram, you need to decide. So when do you decide? If you are going Makkah straight, then before you leave the airport or before you in your mind you make a decision that this is the ihram I'm going to wear. Am I going to wear the ihram of Qiran, Tamattu or Ifrad? And those who are coming from Medina, before we leave the hotel, you need to decide what are we going to. Some people will be doing Qiran, some people will be doing Tamattu, and some people will be doing Ifrad. It's totally up to you. Okay? But you can seek advice if you want. Usually it depends on how many days you're going to stay there. So Qiran is difficult if you're going to stay there for a long time. Because after Umrah, you don't cut your hair and you stay there for 6-7 days. But none of us, I think, are going to stay for more than 2-3 days between Umrah and Hajj. None of us are going to stay more than 3-4 days. So you could do Qiran, you could do Tamattu, or you could do Ifrad. All of them will be possible. Now, where do you enter Ihram from? One who intends to enter the Haram boundary must enter into Ihram before the Miqat boundary. So there's a boundary which has been set by Prophet ﷺ that anyone who's coming from the north, this is your boundary. That you have to wear Ihram before that. Anyone who's coming from the south, this is your boundary. Anyone who's coming from the east, this is your boundary. Anyone who's coming from the west, this is your boundary. So anyone who's coming near that boundary, before you come to that boundary, you have to put your ihram cloth on. And not only your ihram cloth, because cloth is just a cloth. By wearing the cloth, it does not mean that you have entered into ihram. By wearing the cloth, so for example, the women who have worn their jumpa from home, it doesn't mean that you are in ihram. The ihram starts once you make the intention and you say the talbiyah. You make the intention and you say the talbiyah, then you are in ihram. Just the cloth does not enter you into ihram. The cloth should be ready for the intention. So the cloth should be the correct clothing, and then after the correct clothing, the intention and talbiyah is when you enter into ihram. Okay? So these are the boundaries which the Prophet ﷺ set. So anyone who's coming from the north, so Medina is here, and just about less than half an hour after Medina coming towards Makkah, there's Dhul Hulayfa, there's a mosque there. So that's the boundary. That's the boundary which the Prophet ﷺ set as the miqat boundary. Miqat means the boundary for ihram. So if you are going to Makkah, then you cannot pass this boundary without wearing the ihram from here, making the intention and saying the talbiyah. If you're coming from UAE, then this will be your boundary. If you're coming from UK direct, then you're coming over the Red Sea, then just before Jeddah, there's a boundary here. And if you're coming from Yemen, then Yalamlam is a boundary. Now, before you enter this boundary, if you're on the plane, the pilot makes an announcement about half an hour before that you will now, in half an hour, be nearing the boundary or entering the miqat boundary. Please make your intention if you are going for Umrah or Hajj, etc. So, you should already be in your clothes. You should already be in your clothes on ihram. Maybe if you find it uncomfortable to wear your clothes from, especially the men, because your cloth is 2 sheets. So you might find it difficult to wear the 2 sheets from Heathrow Airport. So you can wear your bottom part and then wear a jubba on top and go onto the plane. Once you're on the plane, 1 hour before entering near Jeddah, then you think that, oh, the pilot is going to announce now, so you go to the back, you take off your jubba, and you get your sheet on, and now your cloth is ready, you've got your slippers on, your slippers are ready, and now when the pilot announces that we are nearing miqat, that is when I will make my intention. So the intention and talbiyah will enter you into ihram. Make your intention as late as possible, because there are lots of things that you have to refrain from if you are in ihram. Now if you make your intention from UK, that means you have to refrain from all those things that you have to refrain from in ihram from the UK. But if you make your intention on the plane just when the pilot announces, then you have less time in your ihram and it is easier to look after your ihram. Okay? Similarly, when you're leaving from Medina, either you will wear your clothes from the hotel, or you will wear them at Zul Hulayfa. Once you have worn your clothes, then it is sunnah to perform 2 rakats salah. The Prophet ﷺ, when he came to Zul Hulayfa, Hazrat Jibreel came and he said, perform 2 rakats salah. Also in another hadith, Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala mentions that the Prophet ﷺ, before he wore the ihram, he performed 2 rakats salah. So one of the sunnah is that you perform 2 rakats salah before ihram. Okay? Now, if you are getting on the plane and it's going to be difficult for you to perform the 2 rakats salah on the plane, then you can perform that before you get on the plane. You can perform that in Masjid al-Nabawi. You can perform that at the hotel. You can perform that at Dhul Hulayfa. But if you are not able to perform it, then don't worry. It's not farz, it's not wajib. If you're not able to perform the 2 rakat salah, it's not farz, it's not wajib, it's sunnah. According to some, it's mustahab, it's not necessary. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, you need to make your preparations before ihram. So it is mustahab to cut the nails, remove hair below the navel and armpits, and trim mustache. It's mustahab to perform ghusl before ihram. Perfume can be used on the body prior to entering into ihram, not for women, for men. Hair oil or any other fragrance, liquid, medicine can be used prior to entering ihram. Now, anything that needs to be done before ihram, you do before ihram. So some things that are prohibited, make sure you've done them before. Trimming the nails, etc., etc. Yeah, all this should be done before wearing the clothes of ihram. So preferably you should do this in Medina, or preferably if you're leaving from UK, you should do this at home. So the ghusl as well, taking a bath is also sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So take your bath and then you are ready to wear your clothes of ihram. But you are still not in ihram. The ihram clothes comprise of 2 white sheets for men. 1 sheet covering the upper part of the body without covering the face and head. Do not leave right shoulder uncovered. This is for the men. And 1 sheet covering the bottom part, wrapped around the waist, covering the navel and kept above the ankles. This is for men. No other clothing, underwear allowed for the men. Okay? So ihram is only 2 pieces of cloth. 2 pieces of cloth. Footwear must be such that the central bone of the upper part of the feet and the ankle remain uncovered and exposed. Now, according to the majority of scholars, the upper part of the bone, so the upper part of the feet for the men only, the upper part of the feet for the men only should be uncovered. According to some scholars, it's allowed to cover. So if you're from the Shafi, Hanbali, Maliki fiqh, you can cover the bone on the top as well. But for the men, Hanafi fiqh, they say that this bone should be uncovered, the top bone should be uncovered, and I'll mention which clothes need to be worn. And then we'll show you a demonstration of how the ihram should be worn. So these are the ideal slippers for Hajj, for the men. Because this keeps the bone uncovered, the top bone uncovered, and it keeps the ankle uncovered as well. So not exposing the upper central bone, this is ideal. Like I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been very gracious and very kind on the women. They can wear trainers, very comfortable footwear. You can wear any footwear you want. You can wear socks as well. So very, very comfortable Hajj for the women. It's a bit more difficult for us men. But then, we'll get more reward. We're joking. For the men, now this kind of sandal might be allowed because it still uncovers the bone. This bone should be uncovered. This sandal is covering too much of the bones, that bone here. the central bone, so this sandal will not be allowed. The safest option is, like I said, the safest option is this. But if you need sandals, then it needs to be a sandal that has this part mainly uncovered. These are available on Amazon. I've got a shop there. These are available on Amazon. Yes?
Samuel, if you go back one picture, the thing is the sandals on the right, so
Yeah.
I've been pointed before, is that they are very beneficial because they give you extra support from the back.
Yes.
So if you're doing lots of walking,
Yes.
so I think it's probably one of the most important decisions you can make is how good your footwear
It's
is.
your footwear, but you got to make sure that it's legible and allowed. So that's what I'm trying to say, that if you're going to get sandals, then show the sandals to one of the imams, if you're from the Hanafi school, make sure they're allowed. This is why I've shown this sandal, that it only covers the strap at the front and at the top. And your ankle should be uncovered, and this bone should be uncovered. This is definitely more comfortable, and that's why I've put this in. Also, last year somebody had this one, and that was very comfortable. So that's fine. But the other slippers are the most safest in terms of the option. So this part of the sandal should be uncovered. Now in terms of wearing ihram, David, you're going to do a demonstration? Huh? Yeah. Come on. Yes. Teach me. Which one have you got? The open sheet. Two. Oh, this is this the one you give? Oh, that's easy. Here you got the simple one. This is the lungi one. Those from Bangladesh, Malaysia, Burma. It's very easy. So this one is very easy. Yeah. Yeah, just lift it up and just tie it.
What you want to do for the men here, when you're wearing it, make sure you put your feet apart first. Because when you walk in, obviously you don't want to be too close. But normally you walk back here.
So keep your feet apart. Because if you keep your feet, when you tie it, it will be according to how your feet are. So you need to be as flexible as possible.
And then you just take the one corner. Can you come down the front there? Then take you onto one side.
Take it to one side,
Bring it across.
bring it across,
And just fold it. That's
and then fold it.
That's it.
Very simple.
We can have a belt anyways on top, yeah? It's not just going to fall.
So there usually be a belt here, and then you can fold it so the belt is covered as well. Okay? So that's the main part. Some of you might have an open ihram at the bottom. That is a little bit more difficult, but it's the same concept. What you do, you open it up, and the edge you take to and then you fold it. Fold it down.
Okay. Keep the right side longer. Take one of the corners and tuck it in here, under the belt, so you hold it.
Just tuck it down. Now, in all of your ihram, this is how your ihram will be, the shoulders covered. Only during tawaf, in which there is a sa'i afterwards, that you will keep the right shoulder uncovered. Only during tawaf, where there is a sa'i afterwards, then you will do.
So all you do, just take it off. Leave it on there, and just flick it over.
Take it over.
So this one, as long as it's tucked in, you're okay, you're not messing it up. When you take it over, make sure you don't knock the guy over behind you. So just be nice and easy. So that's it.
Okay? Yes?
So once you've done the tawaf and sa'i, then you...
Only the tawaf, not even the sa'i.
Or just...
Only the tawaf, that's it when you leave the right shoulder uncovered, not for sa'i. So after you've done the tawaf, and you pray the 2 rakat salah, even then, as soon as you finish tawaf, the shoulders back to covered.
So just in tawaf,
Just in tawaf,
be uncovered.
in which there is a sa'i afterwards. So some tawaf, you will only be doing tawaf. Some tawaf, you will have tawaf and you will have a sa'i afterwards. So if you've got a sa'i afterwards, then you uncover the shoulder and you do that. Okay?
Is it that you are allowed to uncover it or you have to uncover it?
It's sunnah to uncover it. If you don't uncover it, it's not going to harm your tawaf, but it's sunnah to uncover it. Yes?
Before the tawaf, how do you know that there is a sahi of you?
Because you're going to know that I'm going to do tawaf and I'm going to do sa'i.
Right.
Okay, so you will know. that I'm going to do tawaf, and then I'm going to do a sa'i after this. Because that will be according to what you need to do. If you can't have ihram now. Go play your 2 rakats over there. Okay. Okay. Women will continue to, I usually get really jealous of this slide. Women will continue to wear their everyday clothes except for cloth touching the face. Women are allowed to wear socks and shoes. Women who wear niqab. So if anyone who's covering the face, in ihram, this is one condition that the cloth should not touch the face. So anyone who's wearing the niqab, they will wear a cap, and the niqab will not touch the face. They can still carry on wearing the niqab.
Are you allowed to wear suntan?
Yes, you are. Okay. What's prohibited in ihram? Shave, pull, or clip the hair. So many of us who have a beard sometimes have a habit of just playing with the beard. We shouldn't be playing with the beard so much, or else it will fall off, and that we'll have to give some sadaqah. Clip the nails, not allowed during ihram. Use fragrance, scent, perfume on body or clothes. If you're on the aeroplane and you've made your intention, you're on the 8 days package, you're going straight to Makkah, you've made your intention for ihram, and then the food comes, you've had your food, and then the fragranced tissues come. And they say, mashallah. You have to be careful. Because now you have used kind of soap, or you've used fragrance tissue, which is not allowed. Okay, so you have to be careful in the airplane as well. Not allowed to use stitched clothes for men. To propose, marry, or perform marriage. To hunt, kill animals, even killing a lice. To have sexual relations or anything that leads to lustful total actions. Cover head or face, even men. So if they are in ihram and they are sleeping, they shouldn't cover their face with a blanket. They're allowed to cover their feet with a blanket. Women are allowed to cover their feet, but you shouldn't cover your face. Women are allowed to cover their hair because that's part of their hijab. Cover central bone of the upper part of the feet, as I mentioned earlier. What's permissible in ihram? You're allowed to use an umbrella, you're allowed to change garments. So anything that gives a shade, but it's not touching, you're allowed. Cap, you're allowed. Change garments, men are not allowed a cap. Their head and their face should be uncovered. So you're allowed an umbrella, but you're not allowed a cap. Okay? To have a bath, shower, wash hair, you are allowed in ihram. So if you get to Makkah, and you feel you need a shower, you're allowed a shower, but don't use anything fragranced. So just with water. Don't rub your body so much that hair starts falling off your beard. That will cause some sadaqah. Cover body with blanket, including feet, you are allowed, but do not cover head and face. Miswak, you are allowed. Toothpaste, there's a difference of opinion. Some scholars say because it's got fragrance, you shouldn't use toothpaste during the ihram time. Okay? You're allowed to wear glasses, sunglasses, ear aid. You're allowed to wear a ring, watch, wristband, or belt. So how are you going to enter into ihram? You need to learn the labbaik. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. Inna alhamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika laka. Here I am, O Allah, here I am. Here I am. Try to learn the meaning. So that when you say the labbaik and you're going to the Hajj, you say, Allah, here I am. Here I am. I'm not worthy of coming here. But Allah, here I am. Here I am. There is no one worthy of worship except you. You have no partner. All praises for you. Favor and authority belong to you. No partner to you. This is to be recited when entering ihram and frequently throughout the Hajj. All the way from Mina on the 8th, 9th, and 10th until you count the big shaitan on the 10th, you should be reciting Talbiyah. This is the best form of dhikr. So, if you are going to do the Umrah, how the ghusl for ihram is sunnah, the 2 rakats before ihram is sunnah. Ihram with intention of talbiyah, this is the condition to enter into ihram. The 2 rakats, the tawaf is wajib, is the first. The 2 rakats after tawaf is wajib. The sa'i is wajib, and the shaving of the head. If you are not doing qiran or ifrad. If you are doing qiran or ifrad, you will not shave your head after Umrah. Ifrad, you will not be doing Umrah. If you are doing qiran, you will not shave your head because you are going to stay in ihram. Okay, so now you are already in your clothes. You're ready to enter into ihram. The pilot has said, make your intention, or you have got to Zul Hulayfa and you have to make your intention. You've read your 2 rakat salah, and after 2 rakat salah, you will make the intention. And what will you say? You will say, oh Allah, I have worn the ihram to perform Umrah. Oh Allah, make it easy for me and accept it from me. Or, oh Allah, I have made worn the ihram to perform Hajj. Make it easy for me and accept it from me. Oh Allah, I have worn the ihram to perform Umrah and Hajj, depending on your. So if it's ifrad, then you just say Hajj. If it's tamattu, then you only say Umrah. And if it's qiran, then you say Umrah and Hajj.
If you're doing it on behalf of somebody, is that when you make the
You make the intention that, oh Allah, I'm making Hajj on behalf of so and so. Yeah? Will make it easy for me and accept it from them. After intention and talbiyah, now you are in ihram. Not when you wear your clothes, not when you was on the journey. Once you have made your intention and talbiyah, now you are in ihram. And you've got to make sure you make that before the boundary. So Zul Hulayfa, or when the pilot announces, you've got to make it, or else there will be an animal sacrifice on your head. Then you make dua.
You will be guiding us though when you know, every time.